Welcome back to the Steve Champagne Radio Show. Welcome back, I Love Music Army. If you haven't joined, you love music and entertainment, right? Well, why not join? It's free. It's fun. We interact with fans from around the globe. I read every single comment, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this particular video that we're doing today on the latest from Tommy Shaw, who did an interview, says he's been able to let go of his resentment list. Which obviously he had some resentment towards Dennis DeYoung. And I want to read this to you, quoted by saying he has no hard feelings and he was honored to play the Dennis DeYoung song, The Best of Times, during Styx shows. Now, of course, Dennis DeYoung had a comment about that, and I'm going to read that to you. It's somewhat lengthy, but you got to get the gist of this because, as I said earlier, this is the beginning. This is how it starts. Okay, here's what Dennis DeYoung had to say. He says, and I want to read this, a quarter of a century after the fact, Tommy Shaw has an epiphany. Thanks. That's mighty kind of you, and you are correct. Your solo on the song is perfect. So is the one on First Time. You sure can pick the right notes given that there are so many to choose from. I sure wish you would have invited me back this tour to sing this one. It's one of my favorites. In case you've forgotten, there's a bunch more that you guys are playing that I could sing and play as well, like Mr. Roboto. Now, before I get into this Mr. Roboto thing, we know that's one of the reasons why the band split up. They were totally against Mr. Roboto. And I got to admit, as a Styx fan, when that song came out, it jolted me back. It really did. And, you know, I was looking for all the crunching guitars. And I know on the Cornerstone album, things, you know, they had a few rockers on there, but for the most part, Lights, Why Me, Boat on the River, it was kind of mellow. I mean, if it wasn't for Borrowed Time and maybe some other songs, you know, it just didn't have that rock feel like the other previous albums did on Cornerstone. So they were definitely going through some changes, but they were making a lot of money with them Dennis DeYoung ballads too. But I want to finish telling you what Dennis DeYoung had to say in his latest soliloquy. Quoting Dennis DeYoung, he said, I know you've been playing Mr. Roboto as an encore for some time. You also had very kind words for that one as well, calling it a timeless song with an incredible arrangement. No need for you to come up with any songs about robots when you got that one in your arsenal, don't you know? Even though that song isn't about robots, but the concerns I had regarding the technology humans could create. Thank goodness that never happened. Now, he wasn't done yet. He wrote a book here. It says here, and I quote, you know, you were there adding the vocoder to the song. That was you and me and JY singing in Japanese. JY's friends' parents came up with that idea. We had fun doing that one. All the band members and 2 engineers gathered around the board, mixing it in real time, each of us with hands on the knobs, with individuals' responsibilities. A real team effort. We wanted it to sound like machines have recorded it, and that even dictated the way John played the drums. It was also why the guitars are underplayed. Guitars sound too human. This song was our way of saying, here comes the machines. Now, he closes his message, this book that he wrote, by saying, it does an old guy's heart glad to know my ballads and my one foray into techno are still loved by so many of our fans. Think of me each night when the audience goes nuts over Roboto and when they get all weepy over the best of times. I know they will because I've seen it myself countless times over these past 25 years. Now, that's what Dennis DeYoung had to say. And if you want to know the feud of Styx, it's really right there in what he said. He wanted to do that Roboto album. A lot of people hated it. When I hear the song now, I just think it reminds me of the 80s, the electronic and the keyboards that was coming in at that point in time. it doesn't bother me half as much as it did back then. And in fact, I've actually got accustomed to the song, and it's kind of funny now. But you can tell that he was very proud of that song. He had a vision for it. It did pan out. Mr. Roboto is really high up on the Styx streaming services. If you go to the, what the most popular Styx songs are, it's really high up on there, which is very interesting when you consider all the classics that they have recorded throughout the years. I would like to know what you think of Mr. Roboto. What do you actually think of it? Did you hate it and now you kind of like it? Did you hate it and you still hate it? Did you hate it then and now you love it? That's what the comment section for. I read every single comment. I want to hear what you have to say about Mr. Roboto and the latest Dennis DeYoung comments. Now, because he was throwing those compliments at Tommy Shaw, and Tommy Shaw threw those compliments at him. If you haven't, if you've been paying attention, this is how it starts. First, little Twitter things here, little Twitter things there, compliments, and then boom, something happens. I hope indeed it does. I would like to see the original lineup at least for one more show. I think they should do a quick, short tour. Something that I mentioned in my Steve Perry video, if you haven't watched that. Just hit the big cities, 8-10 shows, the original lineup. Here it is. The fans would love it. They'd make a boatload of money off of it. And I'd like to know what you think about that as well. But returning back to the studio, which we are in studio number 1 today, we have to say adieu from the Steve Champagne Radio Show. And until next time, because we got to pay some bills, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Ring the bell there, notifications. Join the I Love Music Army. You love music, right? It's free, it's fun, and we want you to be a part of our internet musical global family of friends. We're paying bills. We'll be back real quick from the Steve Champagne Radio Show.